Hi, and welcome to Group 71's presentation for AI planning and autonomy. We will talk about our three techniques: Q learning online, Q learning offline, and a greedy selection heuristic. Q will start talking about our first two techniques before Michael and I take a deeper dive into our final agent.
Okay, so this is our second method, the offline Q learning with heuristic integration. So basically, in this approach, we use offline Q learning to train the agent entirely through self-play. The agent runs over 20,000 episodes, learning a Q table that gets converted into a fixed policy for fast decision making. The key idea here is to be efficient at deployment, and once trained, the agent can act instantly without further computation. However, this comes at a cost. The training is long, and the agent cannot adapt to new strategies or environments after it is deployed. So it's a static and performs best in predictable conditions. Despite this, it was valuable during early experiments to understand the sequence game and test stable decision policies. And here is our third method, which is the online Q learning. Essentially, the online Q learning agent learns while playing. After every move, it evaluates the outcome and updates its weights using temporal difference learning. The decision making is powered by over 20 features like adjacency, threats, hotspots, and many more. This makes the agent highly adaptive and able to improve in real time. However, it comes with heavier computational costs and requires careful tuning to stay stable. In this case, we excluded weight saving for simplicity, so the agent learns from scratch every single time. Overall, this method gave us valuable insights into real-time strategy learning and the power of heuristics in reinforced learning.
Our final model uses a heuristic evaluation function with greedy selection. We break down the scoring of actions into distinct strategic components. These include n-in-a-row formations, board control, and specialized jack logic. Each component's influence is controlled by a weight which we can tune. This was critical because it allowed us to address the balance problem. For example, how much more valuable is completing our own 4 in a row versus blocking an opponent's 3 in a row? These tunable weights give us the freedom to make those strategic trade-offs. Perhaps one of the biggest challenges during development was the corner spaces. Our evaluate line for player function initially struggled to assess lines that included these corner spaces. The breakthrough was realizing the agent needed to temporarily treat a corner chip as the current player's color during internal line evaluation. This was inspired by how the game's actual check-sec function works. This seemingly subtle refinement dramatically improved the performance. Another interesting aspect is the logic for jack cards. The heuristic function doesn't just reward the agent for playing a jack card, it evaluates the strategic impact. Using a one-eyed jack to remove an opponent's chip that breaks up their critical 3 in a row is highly rewarded, far more than removing an isolated chip. This ensures these powerful cards are not wasted. The ongoing challenge lies in the tuning of these heuristic weights.
One novel idea we utilized was inferring the opponent's hand based on previous actions. Keeping track of what cards they drafted and played helped determine what they had. This could inform the agent the seriousness of threats to win. If we knew the opponent didn't have the card needed to win, there was no point wasting a valuable jack blocking that. It initially caused issues implementing, as when an agent trades, it makes 2 actions that turn, but we built special logic designed for this situation. In this example, we see the agent quickly inferring what the opponent has in their hand. This is based off what the opponent has drafted in previous actions. This information was used later by the agent to allow more informed decision making. We assumed many agents were strong and waited to use their jacks for closer to the end, to best utilize them. If the opponent was dealt a jack to start with, it meant we could only infer 5 cards from the opponent's hand, the 6th being the unseen jack. To combat this, we used Bayesian probability to take into account the number of actions the opponent had played, the number of unseen cards, and the number of unseen jacks. A random card has a 5 out of 6 chance of not being played every turn. We could use Bayes' formula, as seen on this slide, to guess if the opponent had a certain type of jack. On this slide, we are playing against an agent that started with a jack and hasn't used it yet. Using Bayes' formula with the knowledge there's been 19 actions played, 51 unseen cards, and 2 of each type of jack remaining, we calculated the probability of the opponent is hiding a jack. Since the probabilities for both was greater than 50%, we assumed they had these cards. and this allowed the agent to understand the real threat posed by open positions for the opponent to use. Our inference is correct, as the opponent does have the jack of spades.